In most cases, justice is served in the courtroom, which is where the accused are forced to confront the repercussions of their acts. On the other hand, for the relatives of the victims, it can also be a place of tremendous emotions and the chance to confront the perpetrators of the crime that took their loved ones. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at moments families attacked killers in court. Yeah, you heard it right. In 2018, the father of 3 women who had been sexually abused by Larry Nassar lunged at him in court before being stopped by security. His daughters had all been victims of Nassar's abuse. The occurrence took place after the judge declined the request made by the father to have Nassar spend 5 minutes alone with him. In 2015, the father of 3 daughters whose mother was slain by the lover of their mother attacked the perpetrator during the killer's sentencing hearing. He lunged across a courtroom, table, and struck the killer. The victim of the murder only sustained minor wounds, while the perpetrator's father was charged with assault. In 2009, the mother of a girl who was 16 years old when she was killed by her ex-boyfriend leaped at the person who committed the crime in court when he was being sentenced. The mother was detained by court personnel, and the perpetrator received a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. In 2017, the brother of a man who was killed in a road rage incident by a former police officer attacked the killer in court during his sentencing hearing. The victim had been killed by the former officer. The victim sustained relatively minor wounds, and the perpetrator's sibling was arrested for assault. During the 2012 sentencing hearing for a guy who killed his daughter, the father of a lady who was slain by a man she met online hurled insults at the perpetrator. Officers of the court were forced to detain the father, and the perpetrator of the crime was given a life sentence. In 2016, at the sentencing hearing for a man who had slain her son, who was only 2 years old, the mother of a boy who had been killed by his father attacked the murderer in court. Officers of the court restrained the victim's mother, and the perpetrator was given a sentence of 30 years in prison. During the 2014 sentencing hearing for the man who murdered and raped a 16-year-old girl in their neighborhood, the victim's father confronted the offender in court and attacked him. Officers of the court were forced to detain the father, and the perpetrator of the crime was given a life sentence. In 2018, the mother of a 17-year-old girl who was murdered by her ex-boyfriend lashed out at the perpetrator in the courtroom while he was being sentenced for his crime. The mother was detained by court personnel, and the perpetrator received a life sentence in prison without the possibility of parole. In 2013, the father of a young girl who had been murdered the year before by her mother's boyfriend during the sentencing hearing for the murderer confronted the murderer in the courtroom. Officers of the court were forced to detain the father, and the perpetrator of the crime was given a life sentence. In the year 2020, during the sentencing hearing for the murderer, the father of a 17-year-old girl who had been killed by her ex-boyfriend attacked the perpetrator in court. Officers of the court were forced to detain the father, and the perpetrator of the crime was given a life sentence. These moments illustrate the tremendous anguish and rage that the families of victims feel towards the individuals who took their loved ones from them. Although incidents of this nature should never be tolerated, they do serve as a reminder of the emotional toll that crime exacts on the victims and the relatives of those victims. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so that you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.